What's up, everybody? Grant Wise here. Welcome to the Marketing Genius Podcast. Really excited to be speaking to Roh today.
That's it, bro. That's all he got for me. Just Roh.
Yeah, Roh's got a wonderful name that I just cannot pronounce. So I'm going to let him jump in and introduce himself here in a second. But excited to connect with this man. Met him actually about a week ago at Inman's Luxury Connect event in LA. I was speaking, and I believe he was there in attendance. Looks like he was networking. And anyway, pumped to have him on today, just to see what kind of value he will add back to you guys. And it's just going to be a great conversation. So, Roh, man, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Last week at Inman Connect in Beverly Hills, I thought you really, really brought it, which was super exciting for me listening, because I think the backbone of everyone's business, it doesn't matter what you do at this point in time. The way that you get your message out, depending on whatever platforms you're enjoying, whatever platforms you're using, is really going to be the only way that you're going to find a way to become top of mind for whoever your specific audience may be. And Grant, I wanted to point out what you said last week that really stuck with me, and it still has right now. Just being able to find what I like to call the avatar, right? Who is the avatar buyer, seller, client, demographic? Like, who is that person ideally, right? And for what we do, because I'm a realtor, right? So, sorry, let me go back for just a quick second. My name is Roh Habibi. I go by Roh. I work for Golden Gate Sotheby's International Realty, located in the San Francisco Bay Area, serving markets like San Francisco, Marin County, the East Bay Area, and Silicon Valley. And, I have partners throughout the entire domestic U.S., especially here in California, wine country. And so that's just kind of a little bit about me. But back to what you were mentioning about that avatar client, that stuck with me, man. And I've been thinking about that for the last 4 or 5 days. Who is my ideal avatar client? And what methods of communication are they using for me to be able to just get on the radar? Basically, that's it. I just want to get on the radar. I want to add as much value as I possibly can. And I want them to inevitably talk about me at the next luncheon, dinner, family party, whatever, colleague events, and say, hey, you need to reach out to Roh if you're going to be doing anything real estate related in the SF Bay Area. So thank you for that, Grant.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you got something great out of it. It sounds like. How traditionally, how have you gone about getting business, growing attention, building your brand?
I'm probably the worst person on the planet for this, dude. So your speech the other day was the best. It was really, really good for me, man, because I don't want to say that I've been flying by the seat of my pants, but I kind of have, right? We don't have weekly, monthly, 12-month marketing plan in order to be able to get in front of these people. We don't. Businesses came to me maybe from being out and about, meeting people, talking to them, adding value. I have a social presence. I have a great web presence, but that doesn't mean that people are like ringing my phone or sending me emails saying, hey, come sell my property. It doesn't really work that way. So I need to get more tactical and more strategic, man. So this is a great podcast for you and me and whoever's listening, for God's sakes.
Yeah, for sure. So do you work a lot with other real estate agents? Do you kind of work in a mentor capacity or coaching capacity or broker capacity, or are you mainly just in production?
Yeah, no. So look, I have my broker's license. So I'm a broker associate at Sotheby's. So I give trainings at our offices. I speak at, 5 different office meetings. I run something called the $1 Million Meeting, which talks very, very in detail about properties that are for condos, $1 million and above, for single family homes, $1.5 million and above, dissecting the property, the neighborhood, the school districts, the companies that are near it, the market demographic, who's buying or selling in that area, who lives there, how long they've been there. So we really go really, really in detail. And I run that $1 Million Meeting to 5 different offices that we have here in the Bay Area, which adds tremendous amount of value to the agents, tremendous value to me. And, you're really, really analyzing the market in a different way, what's on market, what's off market, and you're able to add a lot of value to your clients. And that's what the whole meeting is based upon. That's the premise.
That sounds like that would be your best source of content. Like if you were creating content for Facebook or Instagram or for ad content or those different types of things.
That's great. It's a great idea. You know, I've never really thought about it. I've never really thought about recording it perhaps and making a podcast out of it, or turning it into like little baby clips for IG and Facebook and stuff like that.
I would imagine if you were thinking about your ideal client, like it probably has a lot to do with that $1 million meeting. You want clients like that. Am I right or am I wrong? And
yeah, no, that's true. But you know, Grant, this is the biggest issue that I've had. Okay. So for the San Francisco Bay Area, for the type of client that I'm trying to target and reach, they're not necessarily on the social outlets. They're founders of companies, they're hedge fund managers, they're people that are running big private equity firms. I want to say, you know, they're cream of the crop client. So they're not on social, they're not on Facebook, they're not on IG. If they are, it's such in passing that it's like, it's going to be very difficult to be able to target somebody like that. So, you know, we're a very NDA rich environment here in the Bay Area. It's a very conservative environment, much different than New York City or Los Angeles or other prime markets. You know, the Bay Area is a place where, you know, if you have funds, if you have, you know, the means to be able to go and buy a $30 million home, you're just not. If you have the means to go be able to buy a brand new Ferrari 488, you're probably not doing it. They utilize funds and they deploy funds differently. They're more than happy to invest in the next startup in seed fund, you know, like areas in Series A's and stuff like that, more so than spending money on material things, material possessions. You know, look, some people, don't get me wrong, some people are going to have multiple homes in different areas in the SF Bay Area. They'll have a place on the Big Island or in Maui. They'll have a place in wine country. They'll have a place in, you know, our Hamptons for the San Francisco Bay Area is a place called Healdsburg. So they'll probably have a place in Healdsburg and they'll spend their weekends up there. But it's not a place where, I guess being able to have the means to be able to literally do anything you want on the face of this planet is kind of taboo, to be able to show that off or to be able to express that. And other people kind of like find out like, hey, you know, they just hired an interior designer that spent $4 million to do the interior of their home. Like, they don't want anybody to know that. They want to do it and they want to experience it and love it and enjoy it, but they just don't want anybody to know about it. So, you know, just to be able to share this with you is great, because maybe you could help me reach that person. How do you think I should do that?
Yeah. So what you have in markets like that is you have a lot of ghost followers. And so what that means is that you have a lot of people that are on social media. They're just not engaging on social media. Because I bet if you look at every single one of those people's phones, they all got Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts, LinkedIn accounts.
Yeah.
They're just not engaging on those platforms. I have people like that are very wealthy that I know, and I never talk to them on social media. Like, I could pull this phone out, I could create content and almost call out their name and they still probably wouldn't say a word. But the next time the next time I see them at the golf course or lunch or whatever, they're going to walk right up to me and they're going to give me a breakdown of my last 3 months of social media stuff. They're going to be like, well, I see you did this. I see you did this. And I would imagine you might experience some of that same type of thing.
Yeah.
And so if you're working with a client that's a little bit more conservative, but more investment minded, I would imagine that maybe some of the people that you do business with, I don't know who you primarily sell houses to, but if I were you, understanding that the biggest things that I would go after are preeminence, authority status, and a very nice, like luxury feeling brand. And in my mind, the way to do that would be to staff a videographer that walked around and documented your life with a camera. And when you did these millionaire meetings, made that just like your top of the line, 2 to 5 minute soundbite pieces of content that was shared on those platforms. So when those people saw it, you're really kind of accentuating that brand as luxurious, but also very affluent. And those are the exact people that you're marketing to. So you're taking those ghost followers that you have and turning them into raving fans. You're still probably not going to get a ton of engagement because of the type of people you're working with. But I guarantee you that when you start bumping into those people, they start saying, I saw your video, man, that was sick. Or I saw this, that was awesome. I saw this, that was super informative.
So Grant, let me ask you this then, right? Because I'm a realtor, right? So in the San Francisco Bay Area right now, there's, I want to say over 20,000 realtors, right? Now, I'm assuming from those social outlets that I'm on, a lot of those people are going to be realtors that are in my market demographic and that are in my market in general, direct competition to me, right? So now, as far as having the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset, how much of this should I put up for my competitors to use? So that's my double-edged sword. That's the thing that I always think about, right? Because, you know, in real estate, we have this thing that's called R&D, right? Rip off and duplicate.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I put something up, I swear to you, within that following week, I'll see like 6 or 7 or 8 agents do my exact same thing with my exact same spiel. And look, they don't have the creativity. They're not doing it themselves. It's not authentically them. They're seeing what I'm doing, assuming that it's working, and then they'll do it too, right? So now, look, I'm not trying to give away my bag of tricks to all these other realtors, right? And they're also going to flood the market with the same shit that I'm trying to do. And then they're going to water down the market because, you know, the key to marketing is watering everything down and ruining it. So I want to be super careful about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and how I'm getting it out to these people because, look, in all honesty, I just don't want all of my competitors doing the same thing that I'm doing. If they're not able to come up with it creatively on their own, and find a way to make themselves stand out, like I don't want to give them the arsenal to be able to do that off of my backbone. You know what I mean?
So I have 2 things. First, how many people in your local community are creating content the exact way that I just told you to do it?
Probably nobody. I mean, nobody's not going to have the opportunity to do that because I run that meeting. You know what I mean? So that would be very unique to me, very unique to my brand. I get it.
And then the videographer and the camera crew and the branding, how many people probably do that in your market that are realtors?
You know, I have not seen too many. You know, when you walk into an open house with a camera, people get very worried and weird.
Yeah. So that was my first question. My second question, or my second thing is if you look at your finger really fast.
My finger?
Yeah. You see, you have a fingerprint.
Yeah, it's my, okay.
It's unbelievably unique. As a matter of fact, it's like 1 of 7 billion on the planet.
Yeah.
And so when we look at this, like marketing is messaging. And when you go out there and you start to put out a message, you're going to attract a certain subset of people. And I would imagine it's the exact type of people that you're trying to attract. And when you do it in very unique ways by literally creating content and tailoring it towards those people, people can come in and try to duplicate that and even might succeed. But just like I talked about in my presentation, we don't want to fight over the scraps that the market's giving us. We want to go out there and create our own category in the marketplace. We want to create our own market in the community and own 85, 95% of it. And what you're telling me is that your hesitation to do that is because other realtors might start doing it. I think that's probably true because it's true in every industry that exists, except if you go create this category, you go do some of the stuff that I'm walking you through, you'll own 85 to 95% of it. And the people that are left are fighting over the scraps that you have left behind in the marketplace.
I like that.
If you're the preeminent authority in the marketplace, and you do exactly what I just described. You go hire a videographer, staff him, make him follow around, tell your story, and do it exactly, very Gary Vee-esque. You would see an intense explosion in your business in 3 to 6 months.
So let me ask you this. Okay, say for example, we begin doing that $1 million meeting this week, okay? Should I stockpile 1 month of just insane amount of content, and then the month of December 1, deploy and there's no way anyone's going to be able to catch up? Do you get what I'm saying?
I do, but like your one meeting is a month's worth of content. Like we call it the content compound. So you go do one meeting, you get all this video B-roll, you get all this footage, you get all this audio clips. Well, you have your team turn that into 1,000 tweets, 100 memes, 2 to 5 really great pieces of video content.
Gotcha.
You create this content compound that what I see in the industry right now is that most people they don't understand how to do that. Most of the agents aren't that creative. And so if you can go out there and create that, what we're calling content compound, that just explosion of content, don't wait, do it like right now and do it really, really, really fast.
Gotcha.
You'll leave everybody else in the dust while they're trying to figure out like, how's he doing all this stuff? Like you're doing really simple stuff. You just hired a videographer and they're creating a ton of content, and they're basically turning one piece of content into hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of content. And that can be blogs, that can be all kinds of different stuff. And that's how guys like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone and all these like big, huge brands that we all see in social today are doing this. Is they're recording one thing, and then they're compounding it by turning it into all these other little tiny things. Yeah. It makes you seem like you're absolutely everywhere. So the only way that I love that, man.
That's like the swarm approach that I really enjoy that, actually. You know what I mean? Yeah. I started listening to Gary Vee, like, God, I want to say years ago. And I lasted like 3 months. And then after that, I was done. And like, I don't listen to him anymore and follow him anymore and stuff like that, because I feel like, look, there's certain people that they become a jump off for you, right? Gary Vee, the number one thing that guy says 24/7, if you really, really are listening to what he's saying, he's like, yo, watch what I'm doing and go and do it. Yeah. So if you're listening to Gary Vee for 6 months, 9 months, 3 years, you have missed the boat. You've missed the program. You missed the whole entire objective of his whole shit. You know what I mean? He's trying to create people that are like action-based and oriented, not listeners. So, and then, you know, right now I'm really, really hot on Grant Cardone. I just had a conversation with him yesterday morning talking about doing this little project together. And I really, really enjoy him because he's massively authentic and he's teaching you exactly how to do what he's doing. And it's your job to do it, you know, the work. So what else am I listening to? I'm on Audible 24/7 because I'm always in the field. So I'm driving from like listing to listing or property to property. So I'm just massively on Audible. And if you could recommend any good books that you think I should check out, that'd be great. I'd love to do that. But
for what
my days are very, very, you know, content oriented. I'm taking in a lot of people's things, digesting them and learning how to use them and deploy them for what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For what my shirt is blocking the book. For what I'm telling you to do right now, there's a book. Hold on. I hate to do this. If you guys are listening to the podcast, wait 1 second. Yeah, it's the book. Sorry, I had to go. I forgot the title. It's called Play Bigger.
Play Bigger.
Yeah, it's written by 4 different authors who I can't pronounce their name I can't think of their name right now. But go look at that book, and everything that I'm telling you as far as creating your own market segment is in that book. It gives you basically
in detail.
Yeah, in detail. It gives you like a roadmap for exactly how to do it.
I'm getting it. Yeah,
and the content that I'm telling you to create will help you. It's basically just like pouring rocket fuel onto that solution. So this was supposed to be like a podcast where, you know, you gave us some great stuff, but I think we both worked together here and just had a really good consulting session for a few minutes. So hopefully,
if you have any questions about how I could help the audience, whoever is listening and stuff like that, please shoot, man. I'm happy to help in any way.
I think that we did, man. I think us having just a really good conversation was the best way that we could help anybody today. So that's awesome, dude. So Roh, what is the best way for somebody to follow or connect with you if they want to learn more about you or ask more questions or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you could just Google my name, ROH HAB as in boy, I, B as in boy, I. I think there's maybe 19 pages of Google search results. There's a lot of podcasts. There's live interviews. If you want to learn more about me, the business, the practice, it's a great way for you to just hear about all the stuff that I've been doing. If you want to follow me on socials, I always reply back. I usually answer every single DM. It's ROH_Habibi on Instagram. And Twitter, it's Roh Habibi. Facebook, Roh Habibi. All the usual stuff. But Grant, man, I thank you so much for even considering me to be on your podcast. It's an honor for me.
Yeah, man, no, it was awesome. It was awesome to connect with you last week too. I hope that you take
the
advice
killed it.
and just go kill it.
Out of all the different talks and stuff like that, apart from the girl that spoke about her experience being in the military and being like a machine gunner on the helicopter, her story was just, oh wow. It kind of made me think like, what the fuck is wrong with my life? All I have to do is make phone calls. You know what I mean? Like, so that was cool. But your presentation was very insightful, impactful, and I hope myself I could implement a lot of things that you said, and I hope a lot of the other people that were there were really listening, because, if you could just, like 1 out of 5 people, if they just start doing what you said, that's a success, because, the place was filled with 500 people, and not a lot of those people have the knack to do what you're talking about. But Grant says this all the time, okay? He said, it took me 24 months to just get my name top of mind with everybody. He's like, I did 1,000 news interviews. I did 300 podcasts. He just went really, really ham, hard as a mother, right? and I'm thinking to myself right now, I'm like, yo, why can't I do that? You are literally teaching people how to do that. And you're providing massive value, Grant. So thank you for that. But we could all do it, dude. It's just a matter of really, really putting together a plan and deploying the resources and treating it real. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that I have a problem with. Making this a reality. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to be up here, but like, how do I pen that down and say, hey, today we're doing this and we're going to create content for the rest of the entire week. At the end of the month, we want to see the numbers grow to blank. We want to get, 1,000 DMs answered. We want to provide value. Like, we want to start becoming really, really top of mind for a lot of people. And there's no way that you're going to be able to implement something like that if you don't put in the time. So for a lot of your other clients, like, how much time would you say that they're spending weekly on their social presence, their marketing plan, the video, like all that? What would you say? If
they're following my advice, they're spending 2 to 4 hours a day.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of going one to many. I'm not a huge cold prospecting fan at all.
Yeah, me neither.
So what we're teaching a lot of people to do is take your cold prospecting time, that 2 to 4 hours that you were going to make calls or door knock, or that you were going to listen to affirmations and scroll Facebook until you got the confidence to do that.
Yes.
Take that time and be really intentional about 2 things: understanding who your customer is and creating content that day that is going to be really powerful for them to consume. Even if you're creating content on a Monday,
let's go,
that will get aired on Wednesday or Friday.
You're the guy.
Spend that 2 to 4 hours just being really like, what does my customer need to know? So like for us, we are in so many Facebook groups. We're having conversations with so many people. We're listening to all these forums. And all we're doing is like, hey, today everybody was talking about how they were upset that HUD sued Facebook, and now they have all these Facebook ad audience restrictions. Okay, well, we're going to create some content today about how to get around those. So it's just listening to the market.
How many people do you have on your team?
We have 7, I believe, on our team, mostly remote people that work through what we got going on. And then we are starting to build our team of ISAs and salespeople and stuff like that.
Wow, man. That's great. How long have you been running this business now?
We're about to step into our 6th year, I believe, doing this.
Wow, dude. So you guys have been going, man. That's fantastic.
Been going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot of people that are doing what you're doing now, I mean, they're extremely late in the game. They've been doing it for the last 12 months just because they heard about the hype. You know what I mean? So everyone's trying to get onto the hype. So that's great.
And I think I even mentioned that in our presentation. That's why like 6 months ago, so 6 months from today would be, I don't remember that, like April, May, June. We said we were going to get out of the lead generation business and start getting into the client generation business, because there definitely have been a lot of people come into the lead gen and guru space in the Facebook and in the real estate world. And so I don't want to be a part of it. But that goes back to the heart of my message to you, is when you go create your own marketplace, like that's exactly what I did 6 months ago. I said, I don't want to be in this space anymore. This is very over commoditized. I'm going to go create my own place, and I want to hang out there where nobody else is. And so it's just the same advice I would give you.
How did Brad Inman find you, or how did you end up speaking at Inman?
I believe it was by recommendation. So I actually spoke in Inman. I think it was to my great friend, Mrs. Chelsea Pites. I think she offered my name up because I spoke in Las Vegas. And then,
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I think they enjoyed my stuff in Las Vegas, so they reached out to me a couple weeks before the LA event. And
so where do you live? Where's home?
I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
Wow. Hence the Patagonia and the Carhartt beanie and all that. It's probably cold over there right now.
Well, I normally I dress a little differently, but there was a tornado last night, so we woke up to a bunch of, hey, let's make sure all of our stuff's okay. So yeah, I look like a bum a little bit, but yeah.
Wow, dude. Okay. Dang, awesome. Man, that's amazing. So you flew all the way out to Beverly Hills to speak there. That's fantastic, man. That's good. I admire what you're doing, and anyone else that's building a business and a brand, I understand how difficult it is. So congratulations to you and your team, man. You guys are doing the right things, and I think you're going to go super, super far with it, because there's a lot of people like me. I mean, think about it. 1.3 million realtors in the United States, and many of us need your help, bro. Yeah. So you're providing a pretty valuable service. And it's like you said, man, if you're going to invest that 2 to 4 hours instead of doing the prospecting, cold phone calls, or door knocking, if you could put together a really good implementation plan, I think, like you said, you'll dominate that marketplace. So
absolutely.
I look forward to you holding me accountable, bro, because I need an accountability partner on this.
All right.
Because we're going on November, right? So I have 2 months to get my shit together and begin putting together a beautiful plan for all of 2020. And by the time December 31st, 2020 hits, I want to have a call like this again, where we're doing a podcast and you're like, all right, bro, no BS. What happened in the last 14 months? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be epic.
That would be sick, because then I'll be like, Grant told me to do this. This is what we did, and this is why it worked.
Love it.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. We'll book it.
Yeah.
We'll book it up.
Let's do it, man.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Right,
I appreciate you. If you guys, we'll make sure that we link a way that you can connect with Roh in the comments.
Yeah.
Or in the show notes. So please continue to check us out on our website. Thank you so much for tuning into the Marketing Genius podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Right on, Grant. Be well.